I was trying to decide between the two, and I ultimately decided to go with B because I felt like E was too strong. And I thought it was too strong because it said, the interest in Cameron's fancy subject pictures consists in what they tell us about the sitters, very specific, right? Like just the sitters as opposed to, because I felt like there was more than just the sitters. It said like in the beginning, what did it say? Line 5, bear unmistakable traces of the often comical conditions under which they were taken. Right? It's going beyond just the sitters. Like it's telling us more than just, hey, let's learn about the sitters, let's learn about the situation which they're in, circumstances. So I felt like this was a little strong by narrowly focusing on sitters. Then it said, and not in the imaginary scenes that they portray, like not at all. I thought it was a mix.
It was a mix.
Right? Because like in the end, they talked about the combination of amateurism and artistry. They also talked about...
I mean, they talked about the passing of Arthur that talks about the setting specifically, like broomsticks and whatnot.
Yes.
As an example of the amateurism, so they're clearly not talking about the sitters.
So the word I underlined here was not. It's not that they're not talking about the sitters, but like saying that it's this and not these other things was what I felt like was going too far.
Over, yeah. See, that's what I was trying to get at, and I didn't like B because I thought it was too specific. So you talk about like for main conclusion or main point questions about them being too specific or being over like
either they're too narrow or they're inaccurate.
Yeah, or just inaccurate. I thought that this one was too narrow.
Okay, let's see. The particular charm derives from the viewer's simultaneous awareness of the fictional scene portrayed and the circumstances of its portrayal. Okay, well, I mean, I feel like, there was more said in this passage, but at the same time, when I'm going through these answer choices, if it's factually inaccurate, then I'm going to get rid of it. If it's definitely too narrow, like, a very specific fact, like almost like quoting a line.
Right.
And that line was evidence, then I get rid of it. But if it's narrow-ish, I'll keep it open if it's factually correct.
Yeah,
because ultimately we're picking the best of 5, right? And I feel like E fails the inaccurate test.
Huh. Okay, that makes sense. So it doesn't pass the must be true, and then you have to go with B because even though it may seem too specific, it ultimately is right.
It is correct, at least, right?
I mean, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, sorry. You're like it must be true, and so sometimes oftentimes I think when we're debating between answers, it's either one that's must be true and another one that's must be true, and we're looking for the one that better captures the main point.
Right. So this one was unique in the sense that it wasn't a choice between two, like what you described.
Yes, okay. It was just like, well, maybe this feels too narrow, but there's no other answer that's even like correct.
Okay.
Must be true.
That makes sense.
Just generally, would you say, I feel like when I was doing tests like 30 through 50, when I was studying on my own, like, or 60 even, like, I would miss like no reading comprehension. Or like maybe like one if I was in a rush. But like tests 66 through like present, I'm like missing.
I feel like reading comp has gotten
like
harder.
6.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for the validation.
Yes.
Okay. Because like either I just like lost my reading comprehension skills between like now.
You start studying for the LSAT and your reading comp goes away.
It goes away. Okay, so they actually are harder.
Yeah, no, they are harder. Yeah.
Yeah,
you can look at the data too in the score tracker and it's like, oh wow, there's a lot of difficulty 5s in here.
Okay.
And that's just based on how people are performing on them. So.
That's good to know.
Yeah.